Terrific Tuesday. We're back and moving at it, moving the chains. We're rocking, we're rolling. My buddy Derek Solomon, right before I hopped on here, I love you, buddy. He asked me, anticipation, it's killing him. He's got to know what I'm thinking. 11 through 20, like I just mentioned to you guys yesterday, kind of going day by day. So we got to fire off. So we got 11 through 20 of my picks right now. And just as I speak, Derek just texted me. But I'll get back to his text in a second. Love you, buddy. Okay. So, I have got 11 through 20. Let's start off with the Miami Dolphins. Danny Marino, baby. I got them taking Spencer Fano, Utah, versatile lineman, big, badass. Utah always puts guys in the NFL, kind of underrated, kind of in the middle of nowhere, Mormon country. But I'm going to have them taking Spencer Fano for the Miami Dolphins from Utah because Austin Jackson, USC guy, had some injury concerns, hasn't been healthy, his contract's getting up. They're going to do something. They're going to restart this clock down in Miami. John Eric Sullivan was in Green Bay and saw the importance of offensive linemen, how they draft them, how they develop them. The Patriots, Packers do this as well as anybody. They're going to take Spencer Fano. He gives them some versatility along the offensive line. Can play guard, good in pass pro, good run blocker, can play it all. But I got them taking Spencer Fano. The Dallas Cowboys, there's 2 Dallas Cowboy picks in this. They got the 12th pick and then the 20th, but I want to touch on the 12th pick right now as I'm going down my list of teams here. Dallas Cowboys, they take Dylan Thieneman from Oregon, the big, strong safety. Looks like a linebacker, looks like a badass, tough guy. I have them taking Dylan Thieneman from Oregon just because, listen, Dallas Cowboys defense last year was atrocious. And I'll touch on the 20th pick for them with the corner. But they got to get better. They got to get an eraser back there on that back end because too many times I saw them getting beat. Huge chunk plays. I mean, I still laugh. The Raiders couldn't even get 300 yards on that defense last year. But, yeah, happens when you had Geno Smith. Looks like Steve Wonder at a darts competition. Couldn't hit the side of a fucking barn. But be that as it may, revisions, past is past. So I got them taking Dylan Thieneman, strong safety, badass, downhill, tough guy. They need some thumping in that back end in Dallas, and they need kind of a safety. They just haven't had it in a long, long time. Old Cowboy fans got to go back to like Darren Woodson or, early Roy Williams. Not the Lions Roy Williams, but Roy Williams, the horse collar tackle guy. They need kind of that enforcer back there on the back end for Dallas. The Rams, 13th pick, Los Angeles Rams. They get that pick from Atlanta last year's draft with that trade. I've got them taking Mekhi Lemon. I know he had the cringy combine, but I got them taking receiver in this spot. Puka Nacua, all his nonsense, the rehab, biting the chick, anti-Semitic remark. I've said it before, it adds up with all the shit that he's done. Brother arrested, it just adds up. And I think Sean McVay and that staff at the Rams, Les Snead, and the Brain Trust, they're fed up with his shit. And Devontae Adams is getting older. So I just feel like they got to get a little bit of youth at that position. Not a huge need, but if you want to compete with Seattle and you got to compete with San Francisco in that division, and Arizona's got some offense pieces, you got to have some firepower to kind of keep up. So I think he'll mesh right in with Matt Stafford and kind of that thing and get that ball rolling in Los Angeles. The Baltimore Ravens, my guy Max Lawson's Baltimore Ravens, they take Olaya Vegaga Oanai. I can't say his name right. So I got them taking him because I read a stat today, 45 sacks allowed last year, which was 12th in football. Not the Baltimore Ravens that I'm used to seeing. A lot of that was Tyler Linderbaum. Was he out the door? I don't know. But they need to protect that interior of the offensive line. If Lamar Jackson's your franchise, you better do something. And he's really good in pass pro, good sets, didn't allow a sack the last 2 years. This guy's awesome. And he kind of reminds me of Fashanu from the Jets. He's turning in a really good player. Penn State could churn out offensive linemen. It's a really good state in Pennsylvania for talent. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Baker, my money maker, Mayfield's team, my guy. I have them taking Gerard McCoy. And listen, I know he's got some injury concerns, the knee, and that sort of thing. And, maybe it could slip a little bit longer because there's more surgery on the knee that I was told by Lance Zierlein and Tom Pelissero, who NFL Network guy. on my pod today as I was going to the gym. He might be having more surgery on that knee, so we could drop down a little bit at the bottom of the first round. But I have them taking Gerard McCoy from Tennessee, one of the better corners in this draft. Probably Mansour Delane, he's one. This kid's two. Because the sticky man-to-man, you can play zone, you can just match up anywhere. And the Buccaneers, listen, Jamel Dean left. That leaves a void. And then they gave them a Cullum guy contract, but he really just didn't perform up to it last year. You saw a bunch of chunks last year in Tampa Bay's defense, the Miami game. I mean, I could go on and on. In Seattle game. So, and the other thing with Tampa Bay is their division's kind of got a lot of good pass rushers. Atlanta, Carolina. So I just feel like Tampa Bay and Benjamin Morrison from Notre Dame, he kind of was inconsistent last year, but that's expected to be a rookie. But I have them taking Gerard McCoy from Tennessee. The New York Jets, 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 second time on this mock draft. They get the 16th pick from the Colts because they gave up for Sauce Gardner last year at the midway point. I have them taking Jordan Tyson, who, in all honesty, is one of the best receivers in this draft, the most talented. But he's been hampered. He's had a lot of injuries, hamstrings, knees, ACLs. Take all the injuries out, this guy's a baller. So they need an opposite running mate, Garrett Wilson. You can't just be Garrett Wilson and everybody else. They got to have a running mate. Jets need a lot of shit, but to me, get Jordan Tyson, get a big body receiver in there. Garrett Wilson can run the slot work and go outside. He's got that versatility to do that. But then you get this big target in Jordan Tyson who, whenever I turned on the game, I'm like, damn, who's this dude? Freak show, physically freakish, but got to stay healthy. That's the only knock I have on him. He'd be higher on this list had he just stayed healthy more at Arizona State. The 17th pick, the Detroit Lions. Mike Kesnick, my guy, and Derek Solomonson's team, the Detroit Lions. I have them taking Monroe Freeling, Georgia. And I'm going to say this. They got to take him. Now, listen, he's raw. I got it. But he kind of gives me off, and I read this before I hopped on here, because I got to get my reasons. Colton Miller vibes early on. Kind of can, doesn't do the pass pro right. I can't do the pass pro set, but I just have a feeling that Penei Sewell, listen, they moved him. He's a left tackle. He's an all-pro for a reason. He's a badass, tough guy. But he can move left to right. They had to do that last year. It was in shambles. And Jared Goff still threw for 4,000 yards. Don't know how, but Detroit Lions got a lot of weapons there in Detroit. So I do believe that the Lions take Monroe Freeling, let him develop in that culture in Detroit, bring that badass tough guy thing that I saw 2 years ago in 2023. They're going to bring that back, okay? The Detroit Lions, when they're good, they run down your throat behind Penei Sewell. Taylor Ducker retired. He may be released. Something along those lines. So I have got the Detroit Lions taking Monroe Freeling. Slow build, but eventually it's going to skyrocket, and he's going to be one of the better ones in football, in my opinion. Could be wrong, but that's just my take. Minnesota Vikings. Whew, this is going to be a tough team to watch this year. But I got them taking Kenyon Sadiq, the freak tight end out of Oregon. This guy, it was a combine machine. Now, sometimes that doesn't really translate. But this dude's a baller, man. He's a freak show. It's crazy. So, I got them taking Kenyon Sadiq. I could have had them go Dylan Thieneman to replace Harrison Smith. He's getting up there in age. Notre Dame, probably Hall of Famer someday. Been a great safety for the Vikings. Been kind of a mainstay and an enforcer back there in that back end. But I got them taking Kenyon Sadiq. I think the tight end isn't a big need for Minnesota, but the more and more weapons you can add for J.J. McCarthy, or whoever playing quarterback, mental midget, Kyler Murray, who the hell knows. But I'm going to go Vikings take Kenyon Sadiq. Number 19, the Carolina Panthers. They take, in a shocking one, I almost went Casey Concepcion, but I just have more trust with Omar Cooper here. Doesn't drop the ball a lot. Tough. Kind of in the slot. You have Coker. You have Coker. You have this Omar Cooper guy who's an absolute stud. The game-winning touchdown against Penn State last year. Great catch. So he's been so dependable. I could have him going to the Raiders. He could. And maybe Fernando kind of talks him way, tucks a spy tech or somebody to kind of say, hey, get my guy, But I have a feeling right in this mock draft, I got them taking Omar Cooper. You add this Bryce Young. Now, if they do this, I'm going to say this right now. Carolina, Bryce Young, you're on the clock. You got to perform, big guy, because you have 2 tight ends. You got to get a run back, but you can find those anywhere. It'd be great if you can get Jeremiah Love, but he's not going to fall to 19, okay? Just the reality of the situation here. So you got Ted McMillan. You got Omar Cooper now. If you add him, you got Coker, who's a great, really good player. That Ram playoff game really popped my eye off when I went, whoa, okay. You got your 2 tight ends, Tommy Tremble, Mitchell Evans. Good offensive line. Defensively, got to be a bit better. You've paid Jalen Phillips all that money. You got to see what happens. But Bryce Young's on the clock now. You got to perform, dude. So no excuses to me with Bryce Young if they get Omar Cooper for the Carolina Panthers. They could go another direction, linebacker, but that's just, to me, my mock draft, seeing what I think could happen. And last but not least, the Dallas, hold up, we them boys. Dallas Cowboys. They get the 20th overall pick from the Packers in that Micah Parsons trade. I have them taking Chris Johnson, San Diego State corner, sticky man-to-man, one of the better ones in the draft. Nobody really talks about San Diego State. But I saw a stat that just blew my mind with the Dallas Cowboys. They gave up 35 touchdown passes last year and 45 completions or something around that range of 25 yards or more. They got to stop the bleeding. So you add Thieneman in the secondary to kind of erase her, kind of make sure everybody's aligned back there on that back end, and then you get a corner in this kid. You're going to be set at Dallas. Now get the pass rush right. I think they've done some stuff, overshown. They got some guys. And now get that secondary figured out. Because in that division, you're going to have to face, you got to face CD, you got to face Malik Neighbors when healthy. Giants might add a receiver. Philly's got their 2. A.J. Brown's at the door, but they added Wicks. And then Washington, if they added another receiver, you got a lot of weapons you got to account for in Dallas. So very intrigued what they're going to do at that 20th pick. But that is all I got for you guys tonight. Tomorrow I got 21 through 30. And then Thursday's here, baby. We are just warming up, baby. Terrific Tuesday. Hope you guys are doing well. Pop the sign. Moving the chains. Love you guys. Adios. Godspeed.